Hello, I am Brian Trautschuld, COO and co-founder of Ambition, and today I'm joined by Savannah Gates, Senior Sales Manager at Waste Management. Savannah, how are you?
Doing well. How are you, Brian?
Well, I'm doing well. We were just talking as well as we can hope for right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Savannah, tell me about your role at Waste Management, what it means to be a senior sales manager there for you.
Okay. So for me, I'm one of three senior sales managers. I have the responsibility for the inside retention group. So I'm directly and indirectly responsible for about 94 people, managers and reps included.
And are those people dispersed throughout the North America, US and Canada?
Actually, before pre-COVID, we were all in North Phoenix in a building, a really nice building that we've only been in for about 2 years before all of
You're
it.
just getting comfortable.
We were just
like, this is
getting
great.
there. We were fortunate to move into a new building because of our growth, right, across the sales center. But now post-COVID, everybody's at home, still in Phoenix, still local, but at home. So it's been interesting.
We're all dealing with it. I want to ask you more about that in a second, but as I mentioned, I think what we're trying to share with our peers and your peers out there in sales leadership are what they can be doing in the transition that's happening and having to adapt. For you guys at Waste Management, what is the kind of sales stack or the sales management tool set that you guys have to kind of lead that entire team, going from, I guess, like CRM to how you talk to these customers? What tools are you all using?
We've been really fortunate, honestly. We made some changes, I want to say earlier this year, late last year, that we didn't know would prepare us for this. We transitioned from Skype to Microsoft Teams, which has been very reliable and a lot of fun. We've been able to engage with our reps using that. We use Salesforce, which is, kind of our our main CRM tool. It's a workhorse, so haven't had any issues with that. In addition to those tools, we use DialSource in Ambition, and we're trying out some new pricing systems internally, but those are our main tools: Microsoft Teams, Salesforce, DialSource, and Ambition that we've been relying on in this environment.
Just so I am speaking the same language, and correct me where I'm wrong, but Salesforce, the backbone, has all of the customer contact, stage information, DialSource, how you are getting in touch with folks, calls, communicating, click to call.
And it's native to Salesforce, which makes it easy to use for the reps because everything's in one place.
Yeah, phenomenal tool. So right inside of Salesforce, you click, you have all the notes. Teams is for your internal folks. That's how you're chatting, sending attachments, all of that kind of stuff whenever. And then Ambition, competitions, metrics, tracking progress.
Exactly. Yeah, it's worked out really well, especially with this environment. We're still able to stay connected. One of the things that we're trying to overcome right now is we have the engagement, but in the office, there's a sense of camaraderie, right? You have the, we can do like what I like to call drive-by coachings, right?
Yeah.
In the moment, right? The coach is kind of in the game when they pull you out just for a quick second and put you back in the game. So we've been trying to find unique ways to still be able to provide that. And I believe that the systems that we have really given us what we needed in order to continue to provide that on-time coaching and to stay connected and engaged with our reps. One of the things that we're trying to overcome is how do we get our reps to stay engaged with each other? And that's been, a little bit of a struggle, but we're working through that.
It's really, it's a I say interesting. There's a stressful too, but like there are all these things that we didn't think about before, which are how much information gets shared when you're in the office and people can hear each other or ask a question, or for us in the ambition world, how you can motivate people and get people kind of excited when everyone's around each other. Let me just ask you, I think that's a great transition point. Like, what changed and what has the evolution or the adaptation to working from home and everyone being now remote, how has that been, and how's it, how have you relied on these tools differently maybe than you did beforehand?
That's a good question. I think that we've been, and I keep saying this, we've been very fortunate to have made the changes that we made over the last, year, or beginning of this year, end of last year. So one of the questions that I asked was, okay, how are we gauging performance or activity? Because in the sales center environment, activity is what we measure. We need the activity in order to get the output. And we had recently trained all of our managers in Ambition.
Okay.
So it was new for everybody, and it was already a stressful time because of the changing of the environment and everything else going on. But what was really cool about it is we were still able to track our activity through DialSource and Ambition, even while our reps were remote. And what we found is that we had a lot of work that we could do on our end to provide a structure for them and explain it to them in a way that they knew, even though they're not in the office, they still are held accountable to the same KPIs. So a lot of it was teaching them how to read their dashboards, because again, in the office, you just know, we have the dashboards.
You kind of hear it.
Right. It's really for us to manage the day. But now we've empowered the employees to manage their own day, so they need to see what we would normally look at. Big difference than, from transitioning to the office. So that was the first thing. So we used the dashboard in DialSource so that they know when the batting order was, what was an acceptable hold time or average speed of answer. We started to educate our reps on these things so that we can improve the performance, because we were not doing so well when we first transitioned. And one indicator, the biggest indicator of that, was our activity scores and Ambition. So we can see our team dashboard, and we can see where we had a high amount of activity at one point, and then all of a sudden there was this huge dip. Again, educating our reps. It was new to us, so we had to learn. So what we did was I had my managers present. We presented on calls. What did you learn? What did you pick up? And we shared best practices. And then once we got comfortable, we shared those with our reps and told them, okay, here's what we want you to look at. Here's how you read your dashboard. And this is how you can gauge how well you're doing, and also how well you're doing in comparison to your peers. So that was really cool. And that has really helped us to increase our activity and increase our performance by doing that. The Salesforce, they know it, they live and breathe it. So that was the least of their transition. It was really, truly getting them to understand what was important from a leadership standpoint, and what we would hold them accountable to, and how. Now that we're remote, it's all on them. And I think they've done a really great job accepting the challenge, because everything's more transparent now. They have they have Ambition in their, in Salesforce. They can see their dashboard, they can access it. We have the challenges, or the competitions, so they can pull up the TV. We give them the link to the team television, so they can see where they stack rank. And then also now we're in a position where we have to relinquish some of that to our employees, and allow them to kind of fumble, make those mistakes, and be accountable to some of the things that we would prevent, or attempt to prevent, or try to shelter them from, or guide them away from. So it's really empowered our employees, and it's taught us, or myself and my leaders, we talk about it, that, you know, make this was a good change for us because we're constantly on. We're like, okay, there's a call waiting, there's, you know, and now to allow them to be responsible for their own performance, we've actually seen an uptick in our
That's
performance,
fascinating.
which has been really good. So,
You know, one of the things I wanted to end on, and I love your insight because as a person who sells technology and we help partner with companies to enable technology, how do you guys find these tools, or where do you look for inspiration or best practices?
things like that. But a big thing that Waste Management is truly big on is their people first culture. So we do take a lot of feedback from our reps and our frontline employees to understand that whether or not the technologies that we introduce are effective, and that we have their buy-in is really important. So we get a lot of feedback from them about, you know, what they wish they could have or how they could enhance what we currently have. And we've partnered with great companies and vendors who allow us to provide that feedback, and they let us know whether or not they can make those changes. I mean, Ambition's one of them. We've given feedback on just little adjustments that we wanted, some that we've been able to launch, we've gotten included. Same thing with outsource.
Well, that's great. You know, maybe that's what I'm hoping to do with this series, is be able to have, you know, someone else's ear pick up on what you're saying and understand that this is how you've made this transition successfully. So that's phenomenal. I'm really happy to, you know, continue to serve you guys, and I think, you know, we're going to evolve with you, and we're learning more from your group through this kind of like adaptation that everyone's going through at the same time, which is great. You know, I think that's all I have today, and I really appreciate your time.